Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's 4Ps podcast. Today is actually today is Veterans Day. If you are watching this on November 11th, 2025, today is Veterans Day. And for Veterans Day, we actually have someone here. Her name is Andrea Filz. She's going to be on our program. She's going to talk about Salute Colorado. Salute Colorado is a wonderful organization. As you know, if you are following us constantly, we are actually a very proud partner of We Being Stories Of. The Stories of franchise is a very proud partner with the Salute Colorado organization. Again, what they do is they do a whole bunch of things to get people back on track. And so what happens is this book right here, Stories of Veterans. If you go onto the Salute Colorado website and you purchase Stories of Veterans on their website, you $2 from the purchase. The book is still, I think the book on there is $24.99 if I'm not mistaken, but if not, whatever it is, $2 from the book will go directly to Salute Colorado, and it will help in their mission of helping veterans achieve their mission in Colorado. I'm going to tell you, one of the hardest transitions I've ever been through in life, and I'm going to tell you, you already know my story, a lot of my story. You know that I've been through multiple transitions in life, and I'm going to tell you the hardest transition is to go from the everyday active duty military member to the everyday active duty civilian. And I'm going to tell you, it is an active duty. It's a different type of active duty. And what I mean by that active duty is um, it's weird. You know, I'm all about the 4 Ps: purpose, planning, passion, and persistence. And I'm going to tell you, when I left the United States Navy, even though I joined young, I joined old. I was an older person joining the United States military, but I already lived life and I did life as a civilian. I didn't really like it that much. That's probably why I joined the Navy. But anyway, at least not at that time. I love it now. But what I'm saying is that the transition is very hard. You know what your purpose is when you put that uniform on every single day. And then when you get out and your uniform changes, it changes the way you feel. It really does. I mean, like today I'm wearing a hoodie, a black shirt. Today, during our recording, I will say, even though I'm saying today is Veterans Day, I'm actually recording this on the 10th, and I'm literally wearing a black Marine Corps t-shirt. On the back of this t-shirt, it says, "Pain is weakness leaving the body." When I was a recruiter, recruiters used to exchange like their swag, and I gave somebody a Navy T-shirt. I'm sure that Marine probably never wore it, but because now Marines are kind of weird. But today is Marine Corps' birthday, so in their honor, I'm going to wear it. Today being the day that I'm recording this, not the day that you are watching this. Remember that Marine Corps birthday is on November 10th, and because they won't forget, November 11th is because November 11th is Veterans Day. So that's it. So today, happy birthday to the United States Marine Corps, even though I'm saying that today on November 10th. But on November 11th, I'm going to say happy belated Marine Corps birthday, but happy Veterans Day. And we are going to be, let me stop rambling about all that stuff. Let me go back to Andrea Filz. Andrea's going to be talking about what goes on at Salute Colorado, and you're going to love her what she has to say. And again, please, if you live in the Colorado area, even if you live outside, drop $1 or two on their website, because you're helping people, you're helping veterans in their transition. We'll be right back right after this.
The battle doesn't always end when the service does. For many veterans, the transition to civilian life is a journey of resilience, struggle, and hope. In Stories of Veterans, from military to civilian life, real men and women share their personal journeys, overcoming challenges, finding purpose, and creating new beginnings. Honor their stories, understand their journey. Stories of Veterans from military to civilian life, available now at Barnes & Noble, on Amazon, and anywhere you buy books.
Welcome back to the 4Ps podcast. As you guys all know, I am a veteran, proud of this country, proud of my service, proud of the service of others, and now proud of my son's service. It's fantastic. Today we have someone who is equally proud of our service and has done so much for the men and women who now call Colorado their home. maybe you've always called Colorado their home. It is Salute Colorado. Andrea Filz. She is a member and she is a big time mover and shaker for Salute Colorado. She's also become a very good friend of mine. Andrea, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. You know, the first time I met you, we were talking about the Denver Broncos. And the first time I met you, it wasn't even the season. Now, I will say, I remember saying that the Denver Broncos have a possibility of being a good team. I did not realize they were going to be as good as they are. How do you? You guys are rabid about your Broncos. I mean, I'm from Buffalo. I know we are like big time, like the Bills, but you guys are sick too. So, how do you feel about the Broncos doing what they're doing right now?
We are very excited about the Broncos right now. They're causing a lot of stress and gray hair here in the Denver area, but we are excited to have a winning team back in Denver. I've been a fan for a very long time, and we got used to winning. And the last 9, 10 years have been very painful because we haven't been winning, and it hurts. So
You
we're
know,
we're very excited.
I'm going to say that the Broncos. I am a lifelong Bills fan, but the Broncos have a special piece of my heart, and for one reason and one reason only. I used to collect football cards. Okay, I still do. I still have some like hanging up or right down here, like the really important ones. But I used to like collect them in like droves and boxes. And I used to read the back. You know how you read the back, you get all the stats and stuff like that. Well, they also have your birthday on there and all that other stuff. They give too much information on the back of a football card. Let's just put it that way, okay? But in this case, my birthday is February 4th. Okay. And I always turn on the back. First thing I used to do when I was a kid is look on the back of the birthday, look for a birthday. And the person who had, at the time when I started collecting football cards, the person whose birthday was the closest to mine played for the Denver Broncos. He is still one of my favorite players to this day because I just watched him and followed him. Now he means he has a lot of childhood memories. And it was Craig Morton. Do you remember Craig Morton?
I do.
Yes.
Craig was the quarterback of the Broncos when we moved here in the 70s. And so I got to watch him in the Super Bowl against Dallas. So yes, I
Oh, yeah.
do. I do know
Yes.
who
And
that is.
I absolutely to this day, if I see Craig Morton, I used to have before they had like fatheads and stuff, they had like these posters that looked like football cards. And I actually had a Craig Morton poster in my room. And my friends, because again, I lived in Buffalo, my friends were like, "Hey, dude, what are we doing, man?" You know, I had it right next to like Joe Ferguson, so that was good. But still, I had it was almost but I didn't. I do. I love Craig Morton. He's a great guy, and he did a lot for Denver. I don't think he doesn't live in Colorado anymore. I don't think, does he?
I'm not sure. He is here often. I don't know if it's visiting or he's actually here.
Okay, all right. Well, that's our childhood memory to the day. Tell us what you do for Salute Colorado and what Salute Colorado does.
So I'm the executive director of Salute Colorado. Our main mission is to support folks as they transition out of military service and ensure that they make the most successful transition into civilian sector careers. We do that through our two pillar programs, Valor Bridge and Valor Journey, that both serve a different population of veterans and have a little bit different program focus. But at the heart of everything we do is really building community. We do that through both of our programs, but also through our Valor Connect initiative, which is to ensure that community is built in, for, and around the veterans in Colorado that we support to ensure that as they get out of the military and are possibly feeling that separation from their community, from their family as they're moving into their civilian chapter, that we are helping them build communities they don't feel like they are isolated and alone as they're working towards that civilian occupation.
That is so what type is it? Is it like resume building? What type of services that you
So our Valor Bridge program is a 10-week, 2 nights a week primarily in person intensive course of study where we go through everything like you just said, from strength finders and discs, so understanding yourself, how you tick, what excites you, what doesn't excite you, and then moving on into developing your core values and purpose statement, so you identify them and write them down, and then using those things to do some career exploration and figure out what next should look like. What's the right intersection of your passion, your talents, your family obligations, so that you can move into a job that is going to fill your buckets and help you really utilize the best skills you have. Once we've narrowed that down, it's on to how do you craft your resume? How do you do your LinkedIn profile? And then we move on to other topics like how do you network? How do you interview? How do you negotiate? Anyone that's been in the military hasn't had the opportunity to negotiate anything about their job before, because it's here's what you're getting, here's where you're working, here's you're working for, hope you like it, goodbye, good luck, thanks. So we really try to build those skills and help build a tool chest of skills that you didn't get in the military, not because you couldn't do them, just because they weren't needed and weren't provided. So we do all that. Our classes are all taught by executive coaches, trainers, alumni of the program. So while they're getting these skills built, they're also starting to build their network and also hearing about different industries that they might be interested in participating in or researching further as part of their career. And that also helps to answer the I don't know what I don't know question, and also the I don't even know what's out there question, so that they can start focusing, especially as they move on. Most of the people that go through the Valor Bridge program are retiring after full military careers. That's not a requirement of the program. That just seems to be what population is naturally drawn to that. About 85% of our program participants are retiring from between 20 and 38 years of service. We've seen go through the program. But our Valor Journey program is generally the one that's appealing to folks that were in the military 10 years or less. Most of them are getting out, have a very distinct idea about what they want to do next, and they're generally in school to achieve that objective, whether it's finishing an undergrad or doing a postgrad. With that program, we partner them with a mentor in that field. At the front end of the program, it's a 2-year program. They're also part of a cohort that meets monthly, and they get a lot of the same training that we provide to Valor Bridge. It's just spread out over the course of 2 years versus over that 10-week period.
That is a smart move to put them together. I know that when I got out of the military, I was a recruiter when I in my last when I was coming out. One thing that happened, you had you had your base pay, then you had special duty pay because I was a recruiter, and that's not taxed. Okay. Then you had your BAH, your basic allowance for housing, and your BAS, which is your basic allowance for subsistence. Again, neither one of those are taxed. Okay. And I remember, looking at like, wow, I make 73,000. This is a long time ago. Okay. I said, I make $73,000 a year. Oh, when I get out of the military, I need to make $73,000 a year. That was the dumbest thing I ever did, because I'm going to tell you, when I got out, I did get a job, and I did get a job making close to $73,000 a year. And I was like, don't worry. It's just, I'm not going to go any further. I'm okay. By the time I get my promotions and stuff like that, I'll be up to where I need to be anyway. That was one of the worst mistakes I ever made. It really was. It was a horrible mistake, because what it was I was making $75,000 a year in the United States Navy, but maybe $40,000 a year was taxed. Okay. When I was making $73,000 a year in the civilian world, $73,000 a year was taxed. So I wasn't bringing home anywhere near the amount of money I needed to bring. And I was really struggling for the first couple of years. And it led to depression. It led to a lot of depression. It led to frustration. It led to certain things. Is there a program that you have? Is there anything like that can help people during that transition, during that reality check? that you have with or something somewhere you can lead them? Anything?
It's woven into a lot of what we do. We don't have a particular program to address that, but the building community, and we are also partnered with a lot of other organizations and veteran service organizations in the area, so that if somebody does need more than what we have within our program plan, we do have people and organizations that we can make those introductions to and help support them if it's things that we aren't skilled in or don't have the knowledge or resources to do properly. Then we do have a lot of connections we can make for them.
Thank you so much. And that is something that's really needed. When do you usually? I know you said you deal with retirees, you deal with people just now getting out. When do you usually meet up with that service member? Is it like when it's like at the point where I was like, oh crap, I made a mistake, or is it where, oh, I can kind of ease out? When is that?
We try to catch them right in the time that they're ramping up to get out. So
Hmm.
I say 6 to 12 months pre is a really great sweet spot. If we can catch them then,
Wow.
start getting
Okay.
them thinking about what that next chapter looks like so that they feel like they've laid the groundwork before they get there and ask the questions and been thoughtful about it. Now, that's the sweet spot. So we get a lot of them in that space, but we do have a lot of folks that go through our programs that have been out a year, or more, and are struggling, like, getting to that, oh my goodness, what did I do? Because I thought I understood what I was doing and I didn't. Now what? How do I back up and get myself to the point that I need to be successful in my civilian chapter? We have had folks go through the program. The longest one that we've had is he was out for 7 years before he found us. He'd been working, he'd had some good jobs, but was really struggling to make sure that he was in the right place, doing the right things, and wasn't sure he was connecting. And he said, "You know what? I feel like I need to take it down to the studs and rebuild this foundation from the ground up." And he felt like
Right.
our program and what we do was the right fit for what he was hoping to achieve. And he's gotten a lot out of it and was glad he did it. So we've
Excellent.
got a wide band of who we would take and where we meet them. I would love to get them before they get out or as they're on terminal leave so that they can start building those skills before they're completely untethered from the military pay and the military, the structure that they
Yeah.
have there. But a lot of them do come to us after.
Do you have partnerships with industries and companies there, or you just give them the skills, or is there some place where you have like some sort of, I don't know, transition job placement type, or
We
no?
don't we don't do any traditional job placement. So we're not like a job placement agency, but we have partnerships and connections at many industries and with many different companies in the Denver metro area. So if somebody needed a introduction to somebody that or in an industry, we generally have those that we can make those connections. We look at it as we're building the skills so you can go out and get that job yourself. So building the network, building the skills to get you set up for that. Now, that said, we have some great partnerships with companies like Pepsi, who hosts our mock interviewing events. They bring
Wow.
in their HR team, their interview experts. They do a session for our cohorts on how to interview tips and tricks, things that they've learned over the years. They give them that training, and then everybody goes out into breakout sessions and gets 2 rounds of interviews with the hiring managing team at Pepsi, so they get that real world experience when not when it doesn't matter, but when you still can have a mulligan and say, "Wait, that didn't come out right," or somebody can course correct in the middle of an interview and say, "Don't ever answer that way to an interview, ever. Like, don't
Absolutely.
do that."
And it's funny that you bring that up. I know of like you were talking about like here's what you have to do in the military. This is your job. Have a good day. Come back when when you're done, when you're finished with it. On the flip side, okay, as a recruiter, okay, and I'm going to tell you, as a recruiter, even and it is. I mean, I'm going to say it's not just a job; it's an adventure, and that's a true statement. But it's a very true statement. But on the same note, as a recruiter, they're not getting a job interview, so to speak, because a recruiter in the military is kind of like, so you're looking at the first interview you ever had for a career job. A lot of people join, they're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Okay. So the first interview, and probably the only interview you've ever had for a job, is when you go in front of a recruiter, and that recruiter is taking you out to lunch and literally kissing your butt to make sure you join their branch and hope that someone doesn't poach you when you try to put them in. So that's not even the questions that you're asked in a job interview to join the military are not anywhere near the job interview questions that you would get in the real world. And it's funny that you brought that up because I just thought of that just now. And I was a recruiter for 6 years, and I'm like, whoa, yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's what happens. And
And a lot
it's
of
good that
times,
you
I
have that.
mean, to your point, a lot of times the last interview any of them ever had was to deliver pizzas when they were 16.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Absolutely.
and that interview, to your point about the recruiting interview, looks a lot different than, hey, I have 20 years experience in the military, leading teams, problem solving, supporting divisions, and I'd like to work for your company. That is a completely different conversation.
Absolutely. How do the people in Colorado and the rest of the United States give to Salute Colorado?
They can give to us through our donation link, which is on our website. It's at salutecolorado.org. The donate button is right at the top of the page. Any support is greatly appreciated. But that's how they find us. It's or through, if you're in Colorado, Colorado Gives Day is coming up in December. We are a participant. You can reach us through their website as well.
I also want to bring up that this book, and you can't see it because it's in the, there you go. It's got a glare because I have another light here. This is Stories of Veterans, and this is the book that is part of the Stories of series. Obviously, you've seen the commercials for Stories of Veterans and this, that, and the other. If you go to the Salute Colorado website and you buy the book, because there is a link on there to buy the book. If you buy the book on Salute Colorado, $2 from the sale of each book for the book Stories of Veterans will go directly to Salute Colorado. And that is something that we love. Now, I will say this, being in Colorado, I'm a Navy guy, and I'm going to have to say that, right? Not a lot of Navy sailors, okay? Not a lot of Navy sailors probably retire in Colorado. I know that. You got a lot of Air Force, a lot of Army, but you know what? We're still going to support them anyway. We'll just go ahead, because I know there's like probably like two Navy guys that you've ever had there, but that's okay. That's all right.
You'd be
She's counting.
surprised.
She's
You'd be
actually counting. No,
surprised.
there. I know there are quite a few, I'm sure, that retire in Colorado. I know they are. I'm just playing. Thank you so much, Andrea, for being a part. Andrea, I'm sorry, for being a part of this episode. Again, Salute Colorado. Make sure you're there, helping them out. If you know someone in the Colorado area, the state of Colorado, the Colorado area. It sounds weird. That's, you could be in West in Wyoming and still be in the Colorado area. But if you know somebody in the state of Colorado who's a veteran, who would definitely benefit from those services, please do. If you are a veteran anywhere in the world and you are going to be retiring to the beautiful state of Colorado, make sure you get in touch with Salute Colorado, or even if you're getting out real soon and going back home to Colorado, go get in touch with Salute Colorado. Start your transition. The earlier you can start your transition, the better, because I'm going to tell you, it is horrible. The transition is, even with all the resources in the world, it is probably the most difficult transition you'll ever go through in your life. It doesn't matter, even with all the resources, you need to get every resource you can. And Salute Colorado is a valuable resource. I used to tell people this all the time, that in some cases in the military, They will take up to 18 months to 2 years to train you to be the best soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. And now, whatever they call people in Space Force, I forgot, I don't know.
Guardians. Guardians.
Guardians, thank you, or Guardian. And but they only give you like 2 or 3 weeks to get out, and it's weird. That's the only training you get is to get out. So places like Salute, Colorado is that extension, that supplement to help you in your transition. And speaking of Guardians, I know I'm going to say this. I don't know why. I've been seeing this on the internet all the time. I've been seeing it. I've even been seeing it on reputable news sites. We may need the Space Force here in December with that comet that's flying around. Have you heard or read any in the news about that thing? Yeah,
Think I saw a headline. I don't know much about it.
somebody came, a reputable astronomer or scientist. It was somebody that was like, hey, this guy is not, this guy is not a flake in any way, shape, or form. He actually came out and said there's a 40% chance that this thing is intelligently designed. That's what I did too. You got to pull that article up. It freaked
I
me
can
out
look
for like
for
two
it.
seconds. As a matter of fact, it freaked me out enough to know that I'm going to delay my Christmas shopping. Just enough. I'm going to wait for it to, okay, it's gone now. It's good because in December it's supposed to be in our area. And so I'm like, hey, if we're good, yeah. So we got a couple more weeks. So when it is in our area, if it passes by harmlessly, we're good to go. Everybody will get Christmas gifts. If it doesn't, no need to buy Christmas gifts. I'm good to go. I could save money this year. So there you go. That's what I'm doing. I know that's a horrible joke, and I hope it stays a joke. I really do. And that's about it. Andrea, thank you so much for being a part of the program. We will be right back right after this.
From the pain of losing a child to the courage of veterans finding new purpose. From the grief of friends and family gone too soon to the redemption of those who've fallen and risen again. Each story reminds us that even in our darkest moments, there is light. Even in heartbreak, there is healing. Even in loss, there is love, because these are stories of loss. Stories of struggle, stories of hope.
Welcome back to this final segment of the 4Ps podcast. Again, Andrea had a wealth of information. Veterans not only in Colorado, but veterans throughout the United States, veterans throughout the world, at least NATO veterans. What we go through, and I say NATO because those are our allies, and I know quite a few of those individuals, and I know what they go through. They go through the same thing that we go through, and that is the transition getting out. The transition getting out it's a difficult transition. I'm going to tell you one day, and this is a funny story. Yes, it is a racist story, but it's still one of the funniest stories I ever had in the United States Navy. Am I calling out a city in Indianapolis? Yes, I'm sure it's changed by now. This is 20 years ago, whatever. But I'm still going to tell the story because I think it's funny. I did not take offense to it. You're going to kind of laugh at it as well. So I was a Navy recruiter. I recruited out of Central Indiana. So I was a reserve recruiter. I was an active duty recruiter. Then I went back to a reserve recruiter. It was weird, how government changes their mind every 15 minutes. And right now, as we're in the midst of an almost ending shutdown, you can understand the shit that it goes through. The United States government, they should be glad that the military is here to keep us in line. That is for real. But anyway, I was recruiting this individual out of a city called Martinsville, Indiana. Now, Martinsville is not known, at least back then, Martinsville is not known for, its diversity, okay? And, every time when I moved to Indiana, they said, don't go to Martinsville, don't go to Martinsville, maybe because of the color of my skin, whatever. I went to Martinsville anyway. I didn't care. Anyway, I have this recruit, okay? This recruit is joining the United States Navy. And he is joining out of Martinsville, Indiana. Okay, this is probably back in 2002, whatever. It was a while ago. So anyway, so I am actually, it couldn't have been 2002. It was probably 2004. Anyway, let's just say it was that day. Anyway, so I'm going in and I'm picking up this guy and we had to get some paperwork and things like that. We had to go to, when you have to do that, I don't have a birth certificate. So now we have to go to the Department of Records. I don't have this. I don't have that. So we have to go gather up all this stuff so this individual can join the United States Navy. So anyway, I picked this guy up, take him to MEPS, which is called Military Entrance Processing Station. That's what MEPS is called. That's what MEPS is for. Everybody who joins the United States military, doesn't matter which branch, they have to go through MEPS in order for them to get through. That's where they do their physical. That's where you test for your ASVAB. That's where you do all this stuff. Anyway, so I'm taking this guy back to Martinsville. I have this guy with me. I'm hungry. He's hungry. I said, let's stop at McDonald's to get something to eat. So I'm going to tell you, this story is actually going to be funny, but it's going to lead back into something different. Okay, it's going to lead back into something serious. Okay, and this guy was standing behind me, and it's an older gentleman. All right, and I'm going to tell you right now, the guy who's standing behind me is probably no longer with us. If he is extremely old now. Okay. So anyway, I'm standing in the line and I'm getting ready to set my order. I'm standing in front of him. I'm getting ready to put my order. I'm going to buy the guy next to me. I'm going to buy the recruit applicant. I'm going to buy his lunch, dinner, whatever it was. Anyway, I'm going to buy it too. So I'm standing at McDonald's and getting ready to make my order. And so the guy behind me taps me on the shoulder, the older gentleman I just described. He taps me on the shoulder and he says this. He says, "Excuse me, sir." I'm like, "Yeah, how can I help you?" And he goes, "I'm going to tell you right now." He goes, "If you weren't wearing that uniform," because I was in my Navy uniform, he goes, "I'd tell your black ass to leave my city and get out of here as soon as possible." I looked at him like, holy crap, right? I'm like, this is going to be a problem. He goes, "But instead, I'm going to buy your lunch." I'm like, "Well, thank you very much. In that case, supersize it." And I seriously did that. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world because the guy's face is like, oh crap, I just committed to buying this man's lunch, and then this month going to supersize it, right? And I did. I supersized it, and then I ended up buying the recruit's lunch, and it was all a good deal. But the reason why I'm sharing that story is because when you are in that uniform, whether it be Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, it does not matter. Okay, what happens when you are in that uniform is this. Okay, you actually become the embodiment of the United States of America. You are that hero. You are you are that symbol of freedom. You are everything. That is why when people see you in that uniform, it's like, thank you for your service. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. Thank you for the other. And you are walking in your community. You are walking on the base. You are walking everywhere. You're walking throughout your family as someone who is defending your fellow countrymen's freedom. You have a mission. When you get out and you're wearing a hoodie, a black t-shirt, and some blue jeans, okay, people don't know. You become invisible. And the funny thing is, in the United States military, you're never invisible, even though, you have the secret service and all that other stuff, and secret force. You're not invisible, okay? And if you spend 4 years or 30 years in the United States military, and then you get out, and you have to accept the fact that you blend in, that is the first thing that gets you. Not because you want to be recognized, not because you want people to thank them for their service, not because you want anything like that. It is because you don't really understand your place. Your place does change, okay? But what you did can never, ever, you can't fully thank a veteran, especially, and I'm not saying that about me, I'm saying that about other people who literally went out there and sacrificed big time for your freedom. But that loss of purpose, even though it may be temporary, maybe though it may not be real, because you still have a purpose, okay? That loss of purpose does play on a man or woman's mind. It does lead to depression. It does lead to things. And then all of a sudden, there's other things that happen. If you're a combat vet and you've seen things, you can't really talk to your next door neighbor and talk about some of the crap that you saw while you were out there. So you feel lost. You feel like you have no one to talk to. There's not a lot of people that experience it. And then you don't want to call your buddy. You're kind of scared to call your buddy. That's why I love the battle buddy thing. I have battle buddies. People call me up all the time. "Hey, Trunnis, I just want to talk to you about something." I'm like, "Roger that. Let's talk." It's a beautiful thing. So what I am saying to you right now is I want you to remember what these veterans go through. I'm glad that there are organizations like Salute Colorado. I'm glad that you gave me a couple minutes to understand maybe just a fraction. It wasn't even the whole thing what veterans go through. And I want you to remember that. because I remember what veterans go through. And I do know that I always go, man. I sit there and I scroll through. I say, who is giving free meals on Veterans Day? And some of them, like the best restaurants in the world, are giving free meals. What I'm looking for right now, I have to go to South Florida. I hope that tomorrow Dairy Queen is giving out Heath Blizzards. My favorite dessert on the planet is lemon meringue pie. My second favorite dessert on the planet is a Heath Blizzard from Dairy Queen. And yes, Dairy Queen's not even paying for this endorsement. I just endorsed Dairy Queen. I expect for a check, or at least, damn it, a free freaking Heath Blizzard tomorrow at Dairy Queen. But what I'm doing, because I want to give away free, this book right here, you can get it on Kindle. You can get the Kindle absolutely free from today being the 11th, November 11th, all the way until November 14th of 2025. So the reason why I'm saying 2025 is because if you catch this late and you're like, oh man, I'm going to get it for free. Wrong. If you're watching this on the 15th of November 2025, man, I download every Tuesday. You should be watching on time. But if you don't, it's not that much for a Kindle. It's $1.99. For the book itself, it's $24.99. It's not that bad, but the book is there to help individuals. And I'm going to tell you, the veteran authors that shared their stories in this book, I'm going to tell you that was an act of bravery within itself, because, it is there to help people. And again, like I said, Stories of Veterans, it is free from today when we downloaded it. Matter of fact, it's been free all day. And I know I download this at 6:00 Eastern time. So it's been free all day. Get it. All right. It's free until Friday at 11:59 p.m. Saturday on the 15th, it's not. Okay. I need to make some money. Only thing I'm asking for is this. Okay. The only thing I'm asking you for is this. Please, if you are going to download this, I really do. I want you to download it. Okay. I want you to download it. I want you to tell your friends to download it. I want every veteran, every non-veteran, because every non-veteran knows a veteran who is a very important part of their life. Download this book so you can understand your veteran. And then all I ask you to do is leave a free, not a free, but leave a very honest review on this, on the Amazon website. So download the Kindle for free for the next 4 days. Then after that, please leave a review saying this is, and again, an honest review. I'm going to tell you right now, I would not tell you to leave an honest review if I did not know that this is a great book. It's a fantastic book, not because my name's on it. It's because of the veterans that are involved. I know each and every single one of them. They're great veterans, and they all, just like me, they want to make sure that you understand the transition. The transition is challenging, but it can be accomplished. Next week, we are going to have one of the authors, actually, from this book that will be on this program. And her name is Sonia Halbero, phenomenal individual, great friend of mine. She'll be talking about her book, Your Eggs, Your Basket. Great book, something that, again, we have to, it's a great book about priorities. Your eggs, your basket, and you'll find out what that's all about. We will talk to you again next week. Until then, to all my veterans, happy Veterans Day. For Andrea Filz, thank you for being on the program, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.